Lily. Today's book we're going to be reading is Junie V. Jones is Not a Crook. There she is. She's got her jailbird Joey clothes on and her serial number. The table of contents says there are 8 chapters. Ooh, there she is, posing with her brand new mittens from her grandpa. Chapter 1, No Good Reason. My name is Junie V. Jones. The B stands for Beatrice, except I don't like Beatrice, I just like B, and that's all. Here is a story for you. It's called Once Upon a Time My Grandfather named Frank Miller went to the store and he bought me some mittens. Once upon a time, my grandfather named Frank Miller went to the store and he bought me some mittens. They are made out of black furry fur. And guess what? It was not even my birthday or Christmas or Valentine's Day. Plus, the mittens were not even on sale. Grandpa Miller just bought them for me for no good reason. And that's the bestest reason I ever heard of. That's how come I love that guy very much. Plus, also he can skip. The end. I like that story a real lot, because guess why? I didn't even make it up, that's why. That adventure actually happened to me. My Grandpa Miller really did buy me mittens for no good reason, and they're gorgeous, I tell you. When I first opened them, I got filled with glee. Glee is when you run and jump and skip and laugh and clap and dance on the top of the dining room table. Then your mother takes you down from the table and she carries you to your room for a timeout. Timeouts kill the glee. I wore my new mittens the whole entire morning, plus also I wore them to afternoon kindergarten. I wore them with my attractive winter jacket, only it wasn't actually cold out. Only who even cares, 'cause that outfit looked very beautiful together. I showed my mittens to my bestest friend named Grace. Also, I showed them to a variety of strangers. After I got to school, I held my hands over my heads and I runned all over the playground. Look, everybody, look at my new mittens. My Grandpa Frank Miller bought them for no good reason. I waved them all around in the air. How many children see these lovely things? Raise your hands, I hollered. Nobody raised their hands. How many children think these mittens are gorgeous? Please come forward, I yelled. Nobody came forward. I put my hands back down and walked to that Grace. I couldn't create any interest, I said, very glum. Only guess what? Just then I spotted my other bestest friend named Lucille. I ran my fastest to greet her. Lucille, Lucille, look at my gorgeous new mittens. See them? They are made out of black furry fur. Lucille petted them. My family has lots of fur, she said. My mother has a fur cape, and my aunt has a fur jacket, and my uncle has a fur hat. Plus, my Nana just bought a brand new mink coat. Only she can't wear it outside the house, or else people will throw paint on her. My mouth came all the way open. Why, Lucille? Why will people throw paint at your Nana? I asked. Lucille crossed her arms. Don't you know anything, Junie V. Jones? It's because people who love furry animals don't like them being made into coats for Nanas. Just then I felt relief in me, 'cause I'm not even a Nana, that's why. And besides, my mittens aren't made out of real furry animals. They're made out of fake furry animals, and those kind don't even count. All of a sudden, the bell rang for school. I zoomed to my room like a speeding rocket, 'cause guess why? More people to show my mittens to, that's why. Chapter 2, Fur Hands. I showed my mittens to my teacher. Her name is Mrs. She has another name too, but I just like Mrs. and that's all. Feel free, Mrs., I said. Feel how soft they are. I rubbed them on her face. Ooh, they are soft, Junie V., she said. Be sure to put them in your jacket pockets so they don't get lost, okay? I skipped very happy to my seat. Yeah, only I'm not even going to lose them, I said to myself. I'm going to wear them right on my hands the whole livelong day, 'cause I love these guys, that's why. I took off my attractive winter jacket and sat down at my table. Then I tapped on Lucille with my furry mittens. Hello, how are you today? I have fur hands. See them, Lucille? See my hands of fur? I flew them in the air. This is what fur hands look like when they're flying in the air, I said. I waved hello. This is what fur hands look like when they're waving hello, I said. Lucille did a frown. You're being annoying, she said. That's how come I turned around and smiled at a boy named William. I have fur hands, William. See them? See my fur hands? I tapped on his head. There she is. This is what fur hands look like when they're tapping on your head, I said. Just then I got up from my chair and I skipped to my boyfriend named Ricardo. I tickled him under the chin with my softy hands of fur. This is what fur hands look like when they're tickling you under your chin, I said. Then I grinned and grinned because that boy brings out the best in me, that's why. Pretty soon Mrs. saw me out of my seat. She held my hands and marched me back to my table. That's how fur hands look when they're being marched to my table, I said. Mrs. plopped me in my chair, then she pulled off my fur hands and she put them on her desk. I did a sad sigh. And that is how fur hands look when they're no longer in my possession, I whispered to just myself. After that, I put my head on my desk and covered up with my arms, and I didn't even come out for a real long time. Chapter 3, Being Brownie. Mrs. said I could have my mittens back at recess. I stared and stared at the clock. Then I tapped my fingers on my table, and I did loud breaths. Lucille tattletaled on me. Junie B keeps tapping her fingers and making loud breaths. And I can't even concentrate on my work, she grouched. Mrs. came to my table. Hello, how are you today? I said, kind of nervous. I am fine, except I don't actually have my mittens. She tapped her foot real fast. That was not a good sign, I think. Only guess what? Just then the bell rang for recess. Oh boy, I yelled. Oh boy, 'cause now I can have my mittens back. Right, Mrs.? Right? I zoomed to her desk and put them on my hands. Then I rubbed those softy things all over my cheeks. It's good to be with you again, I whispered into their fur. After that, I put my attractive winter jacket and I skipped outside with my friends. Me and Tattletale Lucille and Bat Grace play horses together at recess. I am Brownie, Lucille is Blackie, and that Grace is Yellowy. I'm Yellowy, shouted Grace. I'm Blackie, shouted Lucille. I'm Brownie, I shouted. Just then, I looked at my mittens and I did a frown, because there was a little bit of a problem here, I think. Yeah, only how can I be Brownie, because those horse paws are black, and so I am two different colors, apparently. Lucille, that Grace did frowns too. Said that Grace. Said Lucille. I said. Just then, that Grace clapped her hands together, very excited. I know, Junie B. Today you and Lucille can trade. Today Lucille can be Brownie and you can be Blackie. And so that way your horse paws will be the right color. Me and Lucille looked and looked at that girl, 'cause what kind of crazy idea was that? I did a huffy breath. Yeah, only how can I even be Blackie when I'm already Brownie, Grace? I said. I have been Brownie for my whole entire career. You can't just go changing, you know. Yeah, Grace, you can't just go changing, said Lucille. That Grace looked embarrassed at herself. Oh yeah, what was I thinking, she said, very mumbling. After that, all of us sat down in the grass and we tapped on our chins. We thinked and thinked and thinked. Then all of a sudden, my whole face lighted up. Hey, I thought of it! I know exactly what to do, I shouted. I jumped up. Start again, Grace. Say your name again. Say that you are Yellowy. That Grace looked curious at me. I'm Yellowy, she said. I pointed to Lucille. I'm Blackie, she said next, spinning around real joyfully. I'm Brownie, I shouted, only guess what? Yesterday, my Grandpa Brownie bought me Blackie fur mittens, so that's how come I have two different colors, apparently. After that, all of us did high fives, and we started playing horses. We galloped and trotted and snorted and snuffled. Only too bad for me, 'cause the sun kept on beating down on my horse head, and I got drippity inside my attractive winter jacket. I am going to die from heat perspiration, I said. That's how come I trotted over to a tree and I took off all my stuff. First, I took off my attractive winter jacket. Then I took off my furry black mittens and I piled them in a careful pile. After that, I galloped away to find my horse friends, and we played and played. There they are, galloping like horses. Pretty soon, Mrs. blew her loud whistle. That means the end of recess. Coming, shouted Yellowy. Coming, shouted Blackie. Coming, I shouted. Then I hurried up back to the tree to get my stuff. Only guess what? I saw something very terrible there, that's what. And it's called, hey, somebody stole my mittens. Number 4, no teddy backpack. I run all around the tree. 911, 911, 911, I hollered. Somebody stole them. Somebody stole my mittens. Mrs. came very quick. They stole them. They stole my mittens. 911, I shouted some more. Mrs. bended down next to me. Who, Junie B? Who stole them? She asked. A stealer, that's who. A stealer stole them. And so, what kind of school is this? 'Cause I didn't even know there were crooks at this place. Mrs. calmed down my voice. Yeah, only I can't even calm it down that good, 'cause I am heartsick, that's why. Heartsick is the grown-up word for when your heart is sick. I looked at the ground real sad. Now all I have left is my dumb, attractive jacket. Mrs. picked it up, then she holded my hand, and me and her started to walk. You and I are going to the office, she told me. I quick tried to get my hand away from her. No, Mrs., I'm not allowed to go there. Mother said if I get sent to the office one more time, I will get grounded, young lady. Tears came in my eyes. Grounded, young lady, is when I have to stay on my own ground, I said. Plus also, I can go on the rug. Mrs. smiled. I'm not going to take you to the principal's office to punish you, Junie B., she said. I'm going to take you to find your mittens. I did a gasp. Principal? I asked, very shocked. Principal stole my mittens? Mrs. laughed real loud. No, Junie B., he didn't steal your mittens. The office is where the lost and found is located. After that, she took my hand again, and we hurried up to the office. There is a grouchy typing lady at that place. I'm not fond of her. Junie B. needs to look through the lost and found, Mrs. told her. Please send her back to class when she's finished. Then Mrs. went back to room 9 and left me there all by myself. The typing lady looked over the counter at me. I did a gulp. Yeah, only I'm not even bad today, I explained, very nervous. Somebody stole my mittens, and that is the end of my tale. The typing lady kept on looking at me. She didn't say any words. Sweat came on my head. Phew, it's warmish in here, isn't it? I said. Just then I heard a door open. It was Principal. He was coming out of his office. I jumped up and down at his sight, 'cause I know that guy very good. Principal, look, it's me. It's Junie B. Jones. My mittens got stolen on the playground, and so Mrs. brought me here to get them. So just hand them over and I will be on my way, no questions asked. Principal looked funny at me. Then he went to the closet and pulled out the big box. This is the lost and found, Junie B., he explained. Any time that someone finds something that has been lost, they bring it here and we put it in this box. How come, I asked. How come they bring it here instead of taking it home? 'Cause one time I found a nickel in the street and Daddy said I could put it in my bank. 'Cause finding isn't the same as stealing, right, Principal? Finding is a lucky duck. Principal laughed a little bit. Well, finding a nickel in the street is different, Junie B., he said. For one thing, it would be almost impossible to discover who the owner of the nickel really was. And for another thing, losing a nickel isn't really a big deal. But when somebody loses something personal, like mittens, for instance, well, that's a very big deal. And so if someone else finds the mittens, they can bring them to the lost and found, and the owner can get them back. He smiled. And that makes everyone happy, Junie B., he said. The owner is happy because she has her mittens back, and the person who found them is happy because she's done a good deed. He pointed to a piece of paper taped on the box. See this? This is a poem the third grade wrote about the lost and found. It says, "If you find stuff, bring it in. All day long you'll wear a grin." I did a frown. Yeah, only there's the problem. I didn't lose my mittens. They got stole on purpose. And so no one will bring them in and wear a grin, probably. Principal raised up his eyebrows. Well, you never know, Junie B. Why don't you look in there and see? He opened up the box for me. That's when my eyes got big and wide, because it was filled with the wonderfulest items I ever saw. There were sweaters and sweatshirts and baseball caps and gloves and balls and a lunchbox and a scarf and sunglasses and a watch with Mickey Mouse on it. Also, there was a backpack that looked like a teddy bear. "Oh, I always wanted one of these," I hollered, real thrilled. I put it in my backpack and skipped around the office. "How does it look back there?" I asked. Principal ran after me. Nope, there she is, running around with her teddy bear backpack. He took the teddy bear off my back and put it back in the box. "We're looking for your mittens, remember?" Just then I felt upset again, because I almost forgot about those furry guys, that's why. "Oh yeah, my mittens," I said, real glum. I looked through the box some more. "They're not here," I said. "My mittens are gone forever, I think." I did a sad sigh, and I picked up my teddy bear backpack again. "Maybe I will take this instead," I said, "because this teddy bear backpack will ease my pain, I believe." Principal said no. "How come?" I asked. "Because the owner doesn't even want it anymore, I bet. Her mother already bought her a new teddy bear backpack, probably, and so this one is just going to go to waste." Principal stood me up and turned me to the door. That meant I'm leaving, I think. "Come back tomorrow and look for your mittens again," he said. I talked real fast. "Yeah, only I just remembered something. I used to have a teddy bear backpack just like this one, maybe, only then I lost it, probably, and so I better take this one home with me, or else my mother might be mad." Principal walked me over to the door. He faced me down the hall. "Goodbye, Junie B.," he said. I hanged my head real disappointed. 'Cause guess why? Goodbye means no teddy bear backpack. Chapter 5. Gargling and Scribbling. Room 9 is way far away from Principal's office. I had to stop at the water fountain, or else I might not make it. I pressed the water button with my thumb, then I puckered up my lips, and I sucked the water in. I didn't even put my mouth on the spout, because there's lip dirt on that thing, of course. I sloshed the water all around in my cheeks, then I bended my head way back, and I did some gargles. I can gargle very perfect, except I can't keep the water in my actual mouth. It runned out of the sides and dribbled on the floor. I splashed in it with my toe. That's when I saw something very wonderful down there. "Hey, it's one of those pens that writes 4 different colors," I said. I quick picked it up and pushed the little red button on the top. A red pen popped out of the button. I scribbled red scribbles all over my hand. "Wowie, wow, wow, I love this thing," I said. Oh, there she is, scribbling on her hand with the pen. After that, I pushed the green button and scribbled green scribbles, and I pushed the blue button and scribbled blue scribbles, plus also I pushed the black button and scribbled black scribbles. This pen makes scribbling a pleasure," I said. I put it in my pocket and started skipping to room 9. Only too bad for me, because all of a sudden I remembered about the lost and found. I stopped. Oh no, I wish I didn't even remember about that, I said. Now I have to take my pin to the lost and found, or else I won't wear a grin. I did a frown, 'cause something didn't make sense here, that's why. Yeah, only I was already wearing a grin, I said. I weared a grin as soon as I saw this wonderful thing, and so taking it to the office will only make me sad. I tapped on my chin. Maybe Principal is a little mixed up about this, I said to just myself. I'm pretty sure I will be happier if I keep it. And here's another thing I'm thinking. I'm thinking whoever owned this pin didn't even take good care of it, so I will give it a good home, and so what can be a gooder deed than that? I took it out of my pocket and looked at it. Plus, this even makes sense, 'cause first I got my mittens stolen, and then I couldn't have a teddy bear backpack, and so keeping this pin is fair and square. All of a sudden, my whole face lighted up, 'cause I just thought of a different poem, that's right. And it was called Finders, Keepers, Losers, Weepers. Finders, keepers, losers, weepers, I said, real thrilled. Finders, keepers, losers, weepers. Then I jumped up and down, very happy, because everybody says that, and so finders, keepers is really the rule, I bet. After that, I put my pen back in my pocket, and I skipped the rest of the way to room 9. Chapter 6, My Grandpa's Wallet. I kept my pen in my pocket the whole rest of the day. I didn't want people to see it, or else they might tattletale to Mrs., and she would make me take it to the lost and found. I behaved myself very good, 'cause I didn't want to attract attention, that's why. I kept my hand in my pocket so my pen wouldn't fall out. Also, I kept thinking about my mittens, 'cause I still miss those furry guys. I put my head down on my table. Maybe my Grandpa Miller might buy me some more furry mittens. I whispered, 'cause that would be a perfect solution, I think. I raised up my head. Hey, yeah, then I would have a wonderful new mittens, plus a wonderful new pen. And so what more could a girl ask for? That's what I'd like to know. I sat up in my chair and tapped on Lucille. Guess what, Lucille? Maybe my Grandpa Frank Miller might buy me some new mittens, and then all my troubles will be over. Lucille said, whoop-de-doo for me. I know it's whoop-de-doo, I said, real thrilled, and so thank you for your support. After school, me and my bestest friend Grace rode the bus together. I run home from the corner like a speedy bullet. My Grandpa Frank Miller was babysitting my brother named Ollie. Grandpa Frank Miller, we gotta go to the mitten store, I hollered real loud. There she is with her Grandpa Frank Miller and baby Ollie. Grandpa Frank Miller was in the living room rocking baby Ollie. He looked funny at me. Go where? He asked. To the mitten store. We gotta go to the mitten store. I pulled up on his hands. Get up, let's go, let's get a wiggle on. Grandpa Miller looked confused at me. That's how come I had to sit down, and I told him what happened at school. Someone stole my mittens, I said. They stole them right while I was being Brownie, and I didn't even know there were crooks at that place. Grandpa Frank Miller shook his head very sad. I guess you can find crooks almost anywhere, honey, he said. I know it, I told him. That's how come I'm never going to see those furry guys again, and so you and me have to go to the mitten store. I felt his back pocket. Then I danced around real thrilled. Hooray, I shouted. Hooray for your big fat wallet. 'Cause you got cash in there, right, Grandpa? Right? Grandpa Frank Miller laughed. Yes, I do. I've got cash all right, he said, but I'm afraid we won't be able to buy you more mittens. The mittens I bought you were the only furry ones they had left. I bought the very last pair. Just then, all the happy went right out of me, because I didn't actually count on this terrible development. Yeah, only we have to, Grandpa. We have to buy more furry mittens, or else what will I even do? Grandpa Miller ruffled my hair. Did you look in the lost and found at school? He asked. I did a sad breath. Yeah, only that dumb thing doesn't work that good, 'cause people don't always turn stuff in. I patted my new pen in my pocket. Trust me on this, I said real soft. Well, your mittens could still turn up, he said. Folks will surprise you sometimes. Then he told me a story about his wallet. A few years ago, I lost my wallet at the mall. I was sure I would never see it again, he said. I bobbed my head up and down. I know it. That's because of finders, keepers, losers, weepers, I said. Finders, keepers, losers, weepers is the rule, right, Grandpa? Grandpa Miller smiled. Well, it might be the rule for some people, he said, but luckily it's not the rule for everyone. Because the very next day, when I went out to get my mail, there it was. My wallet was sitting right smack in the middle of my mailbox, and not one single penny was missing. His eyes looked happily and sparkly. Can you imagine that, little girl? He asked. Someone had the chance to take everything in my wallet, but instead they drove all the way out to my house and they put it in my mailbox. Just then he reached in his back pocket and pulled out his wallet. Look what I would have lost if they hadn't returned it, he said. He took out a picture of his wallet and handed it to me. It's of you and baby, and it's you and a baby, I said. But that's not just any baby, he said. That's you, Junie B. That's a picture of the very first time I held you. There he is, showing Junie B the picture of the very first time that he held Junie B as a newborn baby. He took the picture back and stared at it. Nicest thing a stranger ever did for me, bringing this picture back, he whispered real soft. Then he leaned over again and he kissed me on my head. Chapter 7, The Pink Fluffy Girl. After I talked to my grandpa, I went to my room. I closed my door real secret. Then I took my wonderful pen out of my pocket and I did a big sigh. 'Cause I just had confusion in me, that's why. I wish I never heard of that wallet story, I said. 'Cause finders, keepers, losers, weepers isn't the rule, apparently, and so now maybe I might be a crook. I looked at my wonderful pen. Yeah, only I don't even feel like a crook. I feel like a lucky duck. But I have to take this thing to the lost and found, probably, and then it will go to waste just like the teddy bear backpack. All of a sudden, I heard Mother and Daddy come home from work. I quick hid my pen under my mattress, 'cause those two would not be understanding of this situation. They came in my room and kissed me hello. I told them what happened to my mittens. Then I begged and begged for them to take me to the store, but Mother said there's no more left, and Daddy said there's no more left too, and so there was no more left apparently. And that's how come I got all depressed, all over again, and I couldn't even sleep good that night. I kept on wondering about who was the mitten crook and what did he look like, because I've seen crooks on TV before and they are biggish and meanish and tattoos on themselves. Just then I sat up in my bed, because a good idea popped in my head, that's why. Hey, a tattoo is easy to spot, I bet, I said, and so maybe I can find that crook on the playground tomorrow. After that, I went right straight to sleep because I would need all my strength for crook looking. The next day at recess, I didn't play horses with Lucille and that Grace. Instead, I run all around the playground looking for the mitten crook. Only too bad for me, because most of the children had their jackets on, and so I couldn't even see any crooks with tattoos. Pretty soon, the bell rang. That is when my eyes got tears in them, because I would never see my mittens again. Not ever, ever, never. I started walking to room 9. My nose was sniffling and drippity. I wiped it on my attractive jacket sleeve. Then All of a sudden, a pink, fluffy girl skipped past me. She had on a pink, fluffy dress with pink, fluffy socks and shoes and a pink, fluffy jacket made of pink, fluffy fur. And guess what else? She had black, furry mittens in her pink, fluffy pockets. My eyes got big and wide. "Hey, my mittens, my mittens, my mittens!" I screamed real loud. Then I put my head down and I zoomed at her like a speeding bull. Mrs. saw me running. She grabbed me by my attractive winter jacket. I jumped up and down and pointed. "That pink fluffy girl stole my mittens. She is the Crook. Only her jacket is covering up her tattoos, and so that's what had me stumped." Mrs. called to the pink fluffy girl. She skipped over to where we were. I kept on jumping. And there she is. "You stole them, you stole them. You stole my mittens," I said. "No, I didn't," she said. "I didn't steal anything. I found these mittens. They were right in the grass, and so I thought nobody wanted them." "I did," I yelled. "I wanted them. My Grandpa Miller bought them for no good reason. And I have been worried about them all day and all night, and that is called heartache, madam." Mrs. said to hush my voice. She took my mittens away from the pink fluffy girl and gave them back to me. Then she bended down and she talked to the pink fluffy girl real serious. "Even if you thought nobody wanted these mittens, it was wrong of you to take them," she told her. The pink fluffy girl pointed at me, "But she didn't even take good care of them," she said. I stamped my foot. "Yes, I did. I did too take good care of them. I left them with my attractive winter jacket because I didn't even know there were crooks at this place." There's the little girl, and there's Mrs. standing behind. Mrs. said hush to me again. You should have just taken them to the lost and found," she told the pink fluffy girl. "Yeah, 'cause then I would have found them when I looked there," I said. "And so what do you think that box is there for, my health?" The pink fluffy girl started to cry. "But I really, really love them," she said. Mrs. smoothed her hair. "I'm afraid that's not the issue," she said. "Yeah, we're afraid that's not the issue," I said, "'cause finders keepers isn't the rule, apparently. And so from now on, if you find stuff, you have to take it to the lost and found. Plus, also, you can put it in my grandpa's mailbox." Mrs. looked at me real long time. She said I was getting on her nerves. After that, she held the pink fluffy girl's hand, and they went to talk to her teacher. I quick put my mittens on. Then I buried my face in my black furry fur, and I danced around real joyful. Chapter 8, I Am Not a Crook. The next day I went to principal's office. The grouchy typing lady looked over the counter at me. I rocked back and forth on my feet. "Yeah, only I'm not even bad again," I said. "I just need to go to the lost and found, and that's all." The grouchy typing lady opened up the closet. She pulled out the big box. Just then the phone rang, and she hurried up to answer it. I quick bended down and digged my hands in the lost and found. Then my heart got very thrilled because I saw that wonderful teddy bear backpack again. That's why. I snuggled my face in his tummy. I still love this softy guy," I whispered. I put him on my back and skipped all around. The grouchy typing lady hanged up the phone. "Did you lose that too?" she asked me. "Is that why you're here?" I kept on standing there and standing there. "Well," she said. Finally I did a big sigh. Then I walked very slow back to the box. And there she is. Oh, what's Junie be doing? What's she gonna put in there? And I took off the teddy bear backpack. "No," I said, "not why." After that, I reached in my pocket and I pulled out my wonderful pen. "I found this," I said. "It was on the floor by the water fountain, and I really, really love it, only that's not the issue." Then I did a big, deep breath and I dropped my wonderful pen into the lost and found. "I am not a crook," I said, kind of quiet. The grouchy typing lady looked nicer at me. She ruffled my hair. "No," she said, "of course you're not a crook." After that, I rocked back and forth on my feet some more, and I waited and waited and waited. The typing lady raised up her eyebrows at me. "I'm waiting for the grin," I explained, "only there seems to be a delay." She laughed right out loud, and that's when I felt it, the grin. It came right on my face. "Hey, it's working, I said, real squealy. I skipped all around the office, very happy. Then the typing lady opened up the door, and I skipped all the way to room 9. And guess what? I didn't even find a pen that writes 4 different colors. And that was a big relief. Oh, the end. That was the end of Junie B. Jones is Not a Crook. She decided to put the pen in the box, and so she was not a crook. I hope you enjoyed that one, and I'll read you another book soon. I love you very much, Lily. Bye.